Let's do our weekly chat with Devan Kaney, who joins us right now. Devan, how you doing today?
Dev.
I'm doing well, guys. Just another, fun day after an Eagles win where we're talking about some drama, some alleged drama within the Eagles locker room. But I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Pretty good. So Devan, where do you assess that this tomfoolery has come from? I mean, what is the premise of it? Not who it actually is coming from, but where do you think it stems from?
I mean, I think it stems probably from, everything that we've seen in terms of the inconsistencies with this Eagles offense. I don't even want to say lack of production because we have seen this Eagles offense be productive at times this season, just like we saw them be literally a historically productive in terms of passing and rushing yards offense throughout last postseason. I mean, you look at the final few games that Jalen Hurts played, and that's a quarterback that I'm not sure how a team could claim to be frustrated by. I don't know the truth to the Derek Gunn report. I have, respect for Derek Gunn. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I just don't know if maybe the frustration is misplaced. Like, even when you look back at Sunday night's game, yeah, there were frustrating times from the quarterback, and the quarterback and OC are, of course, going to be the first two guys that the fingers point to. But, there were two drop passes early in the game from Devontae and Dallas Goedert. A.J. Brown missed a few. There was a false start clearly on the Lions defense on the Eagles tush-push that should have been, the Lions literally did it, and then it fell to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts had that play where he ran, and they ruled that his knee was down when I personally don't think it was. So, there are a lot of calls that just didn't go their way, too, that if you really look back on it, could have turned into a touchdown, to more points for the Eagles. I think weather was a factor. So, there's just a lot of other things that I think we need to take into consideration here before we start saying that Jalen Hurts is the main problem within the Eagles offense.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems. I mean, last year, Devan, it was different. When they weren't scoring enough last year, it was like, wait, they're running the ball great. They have these great receivers. They have this great O-line. That's not really the case this year, right? There's a lot of other issues. A.J. hasn't looked himself. Saquon hasn't run like last year, and obviously their offensive line has not been as dominant, and now they're banged up. So we heard that Lane Johnson is out with the Liz Frank injury. It seems like 4 to 6 weeks, though they're waiting for full confirmation on if he needs surgery or not. Devan, how big of a loss do you think the Lane Johnson injury is? Let's go on the assumption he's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's whenever you lose a guy like Lane Johnson, the numbers don't lie, right? I don't know what the updated stats are, but the Eagles' winning percentage when Lane Johnson has been on the field versus when he's been off the field in the past throughout his career are astounding. Nick Sirianni has said even this season, Lane Johnson is the best football player he's ever seen, in general, out of any position. That being said, Lane Johnson is getting older, and I think it just, your body, when you play a physical game like football, it starts to break down a bit. And I'm not saying that, he's done for, but he's been injured almost it feels like every single one of the last, 5 games for the Eagles. He's gone out for whether it's, part of the game, for the remainder of the game, whatever it may be. He seems to be having a tough time struggling. Now, if that is this same injury that now because I know it was the ankle in Green Bay, and then it was the foot, and now, this news comes out. So if this can be a solution, so he comes in and stays in, then that's great. But I think it hasn't been the Lane Johnson that we've seen in years past, like you guys were saying, like they said on the morning show today. And I do agree with that. That being said, I guess my biggest concern would be, what does that jumbo package look like now if Lane Johnson is out, right? So I would hope that maybe they slide Fred Johnson into his spot. Matt Pryor actually didn't play horribly on Sunday night, so maybe that can work. I know that they have Lampkin, who's a center/guard. Maybe they can slide him in somewhere when he's ready. So there are options, but obviously, you have a guy like Lane Johnson, you can't replicate his play on the line. And this is an offensive line that has not been playing to the standard that we are used to seeing an offensive line play to. And I think that's actually a root of a lot of the struggles, especially when it comes to the Eagles' run game.
I agree. Speaking of that run game, Devan Kaney with us here. Devan, I'm going to throw a name at you we don't typically talk about, but I feel like we have to discuss whether or not this guy should get the ball a few more times a game. Tank Bigsby, since he got
Tank
here,
Bigsby.
when he gets the football, there have been a lot of explosive runs. 17 carries for 156 yards. He's averaging 9 yards every time he touches the football. I mean, no one wants to take Saquon off the field, but do you think they should try to work in a little bit more Tank Bigsby? Because it does seem like he's got a little juice right now.
Yeah. So when they first traded for him, I was, and then the reports came out that, it was just for kickoff returns. I think we were all a little bit like, I don't know. Like that, it just didn't even make sense. Even if it's not, I don't view it as a slight to Saquon whatsoever, because they're different styles of backs too. But I remember watching Tank Bigsby make some really big plays down he was in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
Tampa. I don't remember which one of the Florida teams. But he's a really good player, guys, and he's really explosive. And I think that they should lean into that more. I also think, when defenses are game planning, especially more so this year, both with the O-line struggles and the overall offensive struggles, and every team just playing the Eagles like it's their own personal Super Bowl, they're going to come after Saquon Barkley. That's going to be their number one priority when it comes to defending this Eagles offense. So when you have another option like Tank Bigsby, who can be extremely explosive, yeah, you should absolutely lean into that. I think they should absolutely. I actually was thinking that too on Sunday night. I'm like, they should go to him more, especially when you see Saquon. He did get over 80 yards on the ground at the end of the day. He works in that 4-minute offense, but when you need an explosive play, which is what this Eagles offense is lacking, I think Tank Bigsby is the perfect option to get to.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Way more that they got at him already than I thought they would. All right, let's talk about the defense, which has really been the story of the last couple of weeks. They have been incredible against two offenses that have playoff aspirations clearly in the Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Devin, what's been the biggest change for you the last couple of weeks? Watch them. Is it the Jalen Phillips edition? Do you think it's the post-bye adjustments by Fangio? Because it just feels like, for the first time, I feel like they're looking like last year's defense all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys. Vic Fangio is a wizard. Like, I don't know what else to say. He has done an incredible job, and he's lived up to the hype that he had before he came here to Philadelphia. That being said, I don't want to take credit away from, guys like Christian Parker. Like the other coaches within Vic Fangio's defense have done an incredible job with developing these players. Even a guy like Connor Barwin, the head of player development, like the defense. So what stands out to me, standing on the sideline, watching this team, being in the locker room, being around this team, I love this Eagles defense, obviously, for what they do on the field, but for their personality, for their energy. Like, they just have fun out there. And they're a bunch of young guys. I think they're second, third youngest defense in the league. Jalen Phillips' addition obviously has helped, but even from, preseason, guys like Jordan Davis and even guys like Jalen Carter and Nakobe Dean, of course, he injects energy when he came back to play from his injury, but they just have fun. And I think that's something that's lacking on the offensive side. And I actually talked to Saquon about that, because there was a moment early in the game Sunday. I think the Eagles went 3 and out again, and Saquon kind of gathered everyone on offense around on the sideline and was like, guys, let's get it together. Come on. Let's stop feeling sorry for ourselves out there. Let's bring up the energy. And I asked him more about it after the game. And he said, I just feel like we could use more energy on the sidelines on offense. And Saquon, if you watch him, guys, like anyone can see, I'm sure the TV broadcast show it too. He is up and down that sideline. He's rarely sitting on the bench when he's not on the field. He's cheering on the defense. He's cheering on special teams. And I know everyone has their own personal preference, if they want to go back and look at an iPad, whatever it may be. But I think that really does factor into the play on the field. That when your side is on the field, and you see that with the defense, these guys are full of energy and they're just having fun, where I think the offense goes back and they sit on the bench, and I get it can be frustrated, but I don't think Saquon was totally wrong in that, saying that the offense could use a bit more energy when they're on the sidelines. Yeah,
it feels like they need energy and a spark from someone somewhere to get this offense going. Devin, we appreciate you hopping on as always. Have a great rest of the day and week, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Joe.
Have a good one, Scoops.
Thank you. There she goes. Devan Kaney, our sideline reporter for the Philadelphia Eagles there. Hugh, what do you think about the Tank Bigsby thing? He has gotten a lot of – when he comes in the game, they're usually good runs.
You know what's funny? I've heard this on more than one occasion. I haven't really had eyes on it, because I always looked at it like I see Saquon as the same. Tough sledding, but it's something about being the change of pace back that kind of throws teams off. And I think that's what we're seeing. I tell a story about how